Right. Although Wedbush's take this morning is that they're girding for a bit of a market share battle, at least with Microsoft in cloud, right?
Well, hello, that's been going on for ages. I mean, Mark used to be, let's say, allied. There was this, there was this alignment, and then it broke it up into an axis and allied, where Adobe went with Microsoft and Amazon went with Mark. I spent a lot of time with Mark Benioff, the CEO. And I know that Mark was reluctant to make these changes, if only just because he liked the way things were. I mean, it was a gut punch. I had him on the day that Brett left, right, so the excellent co-CEO. And it was just one of these moments where I think that Mark just said, all right, complete reset. I think that Brett was in many ways the guy who handled a lot of this. Mark is, I don't want to pin it on Brett, but Brett was away doing a lot of Twitter stuff. And I think that Mark wanted to have a lot of kinship with Brett. They really, I thought, were working very well together. Look, the bottom line is that this was needed. It was pushed by Starboard, who has a big position. I know that Starboard would have liked double that, because that's how bloated they think that Salesforce.
Right. Well, certainly a harbinger of what we may see in January across tech. And by the way, Jim points out that Mark Benioff was with them not too long ago, and you guys specifically talked about the stock price. Here's what Benioff said.
The third thing we saw in the third quarter was a more measured environment, and we realized that CEOs are kind of buckling down. They kind of saw there's a storm ahead, they're not sure, the stocks are down. We're not the only stock down. The market is down.
Which raises the question, is this something you buy on?
Well, my charitable trust owns it. We bought some right here. Before this. And I think that the key thing that people have to recognize is Salesforce was crushed by the strong dollar. When you talk to Mark, he's always saying, listen, we had an okay quarter. The dollar had an amazing quarter. He keeps his sense of humor, other than when he was crushed by when Brett left. I don't think he expected that. But yes, I think the stock's been cut just so dramatically. But this is the beginning. And this is what I've been waiting for. This is what Jay Powell's been waiting for. We have to have more people who are jobless. And what a terrible thing. To root for an economy to go to 4% unemployment. But what Jay Powell wants are these people from Salesforce to be looking for a job and not being able to get a job that's as highly paid. That's how you bring down the wage structure. But it only works if there's 20 companies that do 30 50 companies that do this.
We'll get JOLTS at 10. We'll find out how that's shaping up. We'll get the Fed minutes, as we mentioned. The question is whether the data the Fed watches is going to be ratifying some of the micro snapshots we're getting out of companies like Sierra.
Well, not this.
Too soon.
This number. Look. I think everyone has to be braced for the fact that if we have an increase in wages, the market's bad. The Fed, they've won on natural gas, they've won on gasoline, they've won on wheat, they've won on aluminum, they've won on lumber, they've won on housing. You know what? They haven't won on wages. And if you go and speak with, I was with a group of a company this weekend that's one of the largest hires of engineers. And the company's just, and I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but engineers are hard to come by. And, well, if there's layoffs, they're not. Right. And we saw so many downgrades today.
Oh, my gosh.
And so many of them were really about, I think, no leverage. Too many people, not enough sales. So this is a watershed day. Because Salesforce is probably the last company that people felt was going to do this, but they did have Starboard. Now many. And would it shock me if Amazon laid off 50, if Google laid off 25? Not at all.
25%?
25,000.
Oh, 25,000.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you hired 12,000 people when you realized. Yeah. I mean, those of us who are in the process or have kids who are in the process of getting a job at these places know that you were starting at March to be able to get the job in July.
Yep.
But July was like when you had to fire people. So they couldn't just. Could they have stopped right in the middle? Well, Coinbase did it, and all we ever heard of was that panic. Crypto's a whole nother world.
Well, the last question on this is whether or not this is a one and done, or whether, like some, they have to revisit this and have a second round later.
I think that's a great call because I know that Starboard thinks that they should. I do think that if sales are weaker, you're going to see another round. I mean, Salesforce does have fantastic growth, but Salesforce remember what Salesforce does? They increase the ability to market. But marketing's being cut back. So how do you increase your margins the way you have to lay off people? Right. But if people are going to continue to cut back on marketing, it's bad for all. We discovered that Amazon was an advertising company, that Alphabet was an advertising company, that Salesforce was just a marketing company. Now, I think all these are much more than that, but that's the way people look at these things.